the big sunflower patch or the big daisy field and you're running through free. Mom and Dad are gone. I get to do whatever I want. No rules apply type thing. Do you remember that feeling?
I remember walking around campus, and it was a large campus, so it was a lot of walking to do.
Right.
And I remember kind of having that feeling of, wow, like this is a lot different than growing up here in town. I mean, when campus is as big as this town kind of thing, it seemed at times.
They kept them moving, like with all the new student and freshmen, like transfer student and freshmen, all had to go through the new student orientation. Boy, did they really do. I remember going through that when I went off, but they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way down from being safe, from fraud protection to, you name it, to managing money, to dealing like with sickness and health issues. They basically put them in all these like little. It's like kind of like a business conference. We'll have to come up with some sort of long business card for that. But they really do a lot of classes and stuff with them, so that's kind of cool. A little bit better than what you and I probably got. It's probably evolved past.
Yeah, we didn't have much when I went that I remember.
Well, I know she's constantly busy. Like the text messages are. If you text her, it takes first couple of days you'd get text messages back before I was even done typing. Now it seems like an hour or so, and then she responds. So
interesting.
So what's happening with you?
Family in town. As you can tell by the crowded studio.
So is it like the Star Wars theme song, the Death March, the Imperial Death March?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
I can't tell you the response my dad gave me when I told him.
So is that why Mark's not here?
Yeah, Mark's not
Mark's
here.
hanging out with the folks?
Yeah, with the rest of the family, yeah.
Nice.
So I asked my dad to come on, and I can't tell you his response on air because this is community radio, and FCC has rules. But he was quite adamant, and so I was joking that I should have brought him in, but treat him like the dog where you don't say the word vet. You just get in the car all excited. Go get some coffee, and wait, this isn't the coffee shop. What are you doing?
There's coffee in there.
Just gotta stop by and pick something up. Come on in with me.
Sit him down.
Sit him down. You just grumble over there.
Does grumpy old man make for good radio?
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, we get by with it, but.
So, hey, I wanted to go over baseball season, so I had something for you. I'm going to give you your homework early. I want you to be able to think about it because you always get so upset when I spring things on you. So, been thinking a lot because I know you've pretty much given up cold turkey on ESPN, on SportsCenter. I should say.
On sports talk in general, sports news channels.
All right, yeah, okay.
Well, I want to just.
This is why he's Spock and Sam the Eagle. I don't say it right, folks. He gets upset. You should see the evilness coming from his face right now. So, anyways, it seems like the Booyah Network is really ramping up because of the baseball playoffs are coming. Mm-hmm. So this the wild card spots, all that stuff. Football's starting up. Hockey hasn't blown up yet, so we're through that awkward July month where there's not a lot going on.
Right.
And the nicknames. It's like every baseball player now has some sort of nickname, and just the Booyah Network's over the top about all this stuff.
Right.
So I was, we need to spend some time, whether it's today or in the future, going over the greatest nicknames of all time.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Greatest nicknames of all time.
Yeah, the greatest nicknames of all time. Whether I don't care where they come from, just people that have, their nickname has become their identity. It can be anywhere from people that their nickname is their identity now.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that. Let's tie this back into our college story. I told you my roommate in college, his nickname was Biff. Well, Biff was Biff throughout high school. And
or Sasquatch.
Right. And so I practiced all summer long. Scott. His name's Scott. I probably called him Scott freshman year when I met him, and then it was nicknames from then on. And I have a theory that I think some people are nickname magnets. And,
some people are,
right,
yes.
Or maybe magnet applies, Sometimes we have opposite poles, sometimes we're the same. Some people reject them. They just never stick, and others, they attract them. He was a guy that just attracted nicknames. So I practiced all summer long. So we get down to the dorms, big dorm, a lot of kids, everywhere. I'm calling him Scott. And then one day I yell down, and granted, Scott was a big guy. I mean, and when I say that,
he looked like Biff from Back to the Future.
Big guy. And so he's way down the hallway. It's lunchtime.
And you had a moment of lapse?
Yeah, a moment of lapse. I just yelled down the hallway, "Hey, Biff, you want to go lunch with us?" And he said, "Yeah, just a minute." And the other guys that were standing near me looked at me like, "What did you just call him?" And he didn't get mad. Not a month later, that same neighbor was like, "What's Biff's name?"
So yeah, I mean, Biff was one of those.
I've gotten to the point now where I've buzz just changed.
Oh,
was that
okay.
you? Did you do?
I don't have a
something?
buzz. I haven't had a buzz for a while.
Okay, so that was like training. So I failed that. I mean, I made it maybe a semester of college before
you blew it, right?
But since then, he's gotten married, and so I had to do it again. Because when they exchanged vows. He didn't say, "I, Biff, take you." He's a grown man,
right.
with a son and a family and in-laws. So he's Scott when I call or talk to him.
Right.
So it's taking a lot of work because he's got those magnets. So I think that's part of it. Is nicknames got to be one that just sticks. That.
Yeah, because I even know, like my grandpa, was Carl, but everybody called him Chick. So when I was I think Chick was more of a popular nickname probably back then or back in the day. But when I was a little kid, I mean, my grandpa was, people would walk up, "How's your grandpa Chick doing?" I mean, I didn't even. Yeah. He was always called Chick. I can't even tell you why. I mean, is Chick short for Carl? Do you really need to shorten Carl? I mean, it's like.
It's a good point. How short of a name?
Like I understand like a lot of like back in the day when my dad, and he's in his 70s, but I know a lot of times John and John Jr. one was John and one was Jack. Right. That's how things would be done. You know what I mean? But so there's those type of nicknames, but and then there's Biff because I totally agree with you. Like I have a football player on my team that we've coached him for it's probably been 6 years or so, and his name is Jacob or Jake, but no one calls him that, and he's got like 6 or 7 different nicknames. Right.
So he's a nickname magnet.
He's a nickname magnet. That's a kid, and you know him. You've coached him, and we call him JD because of his initials. Right. And we'll even say his last name, JD, and then his last name, even though the D stands for his last name. So it's kind of, you are right about that. Some kids are just.
Right. Well, then there's that other player, Zoom.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point that our buddy Coach Dave that's been on with us, we call him Coach Zoom, which I think is great when the father gets the nickname based off the son as opposed to the other way around. I think that might be a younger brother thing because I got a lot of nicknames. They never stuck, but it was the word little and in front of whatever they called my brother.
Yeah, because I have spent most of my life being a non-nickname, person. Like I don't have any, and I don't know that you I call you Putz, but I mean...
That's the only thing. Thanks for putting that out on air. That's not going to come back to haunt me. Our Facebook page is going to finally blow up. We keep asking you guys to get out there, reach out to us, because we're out there on Facebook, or you can Marengo Man Cave at gmail.com. You can email us.
But then there's
what are
also...
some of the greatest nicknames, because that's what you've been asking.
And ironically, going along with that, as far as athletes go, there are some fantastic nicknames that are used in reference. This is where I wanted to go with this earlier on. So there's people that you reference their nickname, but you don't actually call them that. And I got the perfect example of that, and I want us to discover more. Walter Payton, everybody knows he was called Sweetness. Right. No one called him Sweetness. Like it wasn't, "Hey, Sweetness." But Walter Payton, when you were referred to him, he was referred to as Sweetness. But he wasn't, no one called him out in the field Sweetness type thing. Right. So that's, what other nicknames people reference. You know what I mean? So that's...
Right. So Mr. October.
There you go.
See, they wouldn't call him that.
They don't call him Mr. October.
He's called...
To his face, but he's referred to in media and public.
Interesting.
Right? So that's what I wanted to... So we got to work on this.
We work on other good nicknames.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Like the Raiders, because I was a big Raiders fan when I was a little kid, the Galloping Ghost. Right. So I mean... all those ones. So we got to talk about it. Got to go through it. And then there's always the nicknames. Just, do you have nicknames for your kids, your family members? And then we all know somebody that always assigns nickname. Like someone, and you're staring at 50% of them right now. You know somebody that calls it, gives everybody, gets a nickname. Right. And my dad gives everybody a nickname. And that's who he
You
is.
threw me with the staring at 50% of them. You meant genetically.
Yeah, genetically.
Okay.
You're.
I'm like, wait, no one else is here. Nobody else is here.
Spock was having a moment there.
You gave me a math problem. I'm calculating. Not able to. Yeah.
So that's one of those things we got to I think we got to explore this, because these are the things that go through my mind when I'm driving in the car.
All the way up to college and back.
Yeah,
You
I'm
got a lot of
sitting there.
things
Kids are watching a movie in the back seat.
Right.
And I'm like, actually, I was driving home from college.
Right.
I was listening to a little sports radio.
Because, the one that jumps out at me that irritated me last year was LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
I got this right. Nickname is Shady.
Yep.
But then guys on the Booyah Network saying Shady McCoy all the time, and it just came across as awkward. Like, you're not that close with him. You don't, it sounds like, a
So
nickname,
you bring up another good point. Nicknames that only your close friends can use.
Right.
And everybody knows when they're appropriate or not. Right?
Right.
Because everybody would say Boomer from ESPN.
Right. And
you say Boomer, and they know exactly who you're talking about. But he also is a guy that likes to assign a lot of... And don't even get me started on the people that try to give themselves a nickname.
Yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname.
That just doesn't work. And when we grew up...
Right, PK?
She's not listening to us.
All right.
She obviously has the volume down in the other studio.
Yep.
So we'll throw a acoustical wall tile at her. She's not listening to us. So we have to, but when we grew up, you and I grew up, everybody went by their last name.
Yeah. Well, that's probably because we were the most unimaginative generation.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because these days I'm at home, and if I say Matt or Matthew, Chris, Dave, or Mark, those are all followed by which one. Because we had just these basic, simple, everybody was called, and you only had so many names.
Well played, understood.
So I think that's where some of the last names come from. Like, which Mark? My wife still gets confused, because I'm like, the one that doesn't show up to the radio station. Oh, then she knows. Makes it real easy. So.
Absent Mark.
Yeah. So,
and we got to, when we come back, we'll take a break here shortly. But when we do come back, we got to talk about some things happen. Nicknames. How do they happen? Sometimes it's solely based on situation. Right? There's a situation that happens that you earn a nickname.
Right.
And you can't control. How that comes about. So we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Just because I want to.
It's a very interesting topic.
We could go on for hours.
The suspense, I'm sure all our listeners are just, they're going on break right now?
Right.
So you're listening to the Marengo Man Cave. I'm Eric. He's Matthew. We're on 94.3.
Mostly sunny.
All right. It's mostly sunny. It's a beautiful day out.
Beautiful. Jeez, don't even get me started on that.
Got a nice little scoot over here on the bike.
Nice.
His bike's in the shop, so...
Still.
So that's a
not
sore subject. So,
all right,
if you're listening, hop on your motorcycle, drive by the station at 10:02 right after our show's over, just to let them know how you feel. We'll be back in a few minutes.
This is a journey into sound. Marengo Community Radio. Oldies, country, Christian, classical, and jazz. 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond.
Like no place on earth.
Hello, everyone. This is Denny Farrell, inviting you to join me right here on WXMR 94.3 FM every Thursday afternoon for the original Big Band Showcase. We play all that great music from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and the good big bands that are working today. Join me again, won't you? That's Thursday afternoons at 3 p.m. right here on WXMR 94.3 FM with the original Big Band Showcase.
Support for Marengo Community Radio comes from Marengo Main Street. Marengo Main Street is a nonprofit volunteer